Hey you guys, it's Rachel here with Life of Senza. So, alrighty. I'm doing a video update. I decided to bring out my young idiota male dog, Grim, with two of my other very dominant, mature, assertive, confident boys, so that he can learn how to be excited around other males without being too aggressive. And I also wanted to just talk about kind of some stuff, like, you know, the whole, there we go. There you go. Ooh, see? Preacher let him know. See that? He backed down. That's exactly what I wanted to see. So it's exactly why he's out here. See, look at that. He got checked again by the alpha. Look at him. Look at. See? The head over the shoulder. You're a good boy, Preacher. See, and I didn't have to even tell him anything. I didn't have to tell him to... There we go. Boom. So apparently school is in session today. Oh. Hey, madman! Stay out of it. Sir, you stay out of it. So my Mortigan tried to use it as an opportunity to assert himself over Preacher, which is not okay. Now, Grim did assert himself a little bit. And now you can see my Mortigan checking him out. My Mortigan's got some eye gunk. Come here, madman, now. Come here. Oi. Mad Mortigan. He's too hyper now. Hey, come here. Let me see your eye. Come here. Got nasty gunk all over your eye. There you go. So as you can see, he's completely healed from whatever the heck he had going on. I did the wait and see approach because it wasn't painful at all, and it did just go away. So anyway, so considering the point of this video, which is not to really do a Senza tempo video, but we're here. So I've decided that I'm not gonna press charges. A lot of people have been wanting me to press charges, and especially because we hadn't heard anything from him, and they were like, well, you don't know what's going on, you don't know if he's hurt, blah blah blah. We knew he left, and we knew he left on purpose, but they were like, you know, who knows who he got in the vehicle with, you know, who knows what's going on. But Savannah said that he was watching the videos. She was able to see that he was watching the videos. And so having said that, I know that he's okay. He wouldn't be watching the videos if he wasn't okay. But, and his, you know, his phone is on. It's not like it's off. You know what I mean? So, but regardless, I really sat and I asked God for guidance on this, because it's a very hard thing to know what to do. You know what I mean? I'm a very firm believer in having consequences for your actions. But on the flip side, that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be the one to enforce those consequences. And I really thought long and hard about it, and my heart and was leaning towards this, and I feel like I got God's confirmation on this, where I kind of asked for guidance, and I just heard him tell me that if I did that, if I pressed charges on him for taking this dog, that he took under the wrong circumstances, that ultimately he doesn't see it that way. He sees it as I just gave him the dog. And And, he can decide, like, I just think I think that's the way that he sees it. And as long as he sees it that way, if I was to press charges or even go through civil court and basically be like, well, I gave the dog under certain conditions and he did not meet those conditions. Like, even if I was to take him to court, ultimately he would see it as just me being exactly what he's always been told that I am, which is a greedy, mean person who wants to hurt him. And he would never see it as a consequence for stealing a dog. And ultimately what I have to do is I have to let it go. I have to pray for him, and I have to let God handle it. And maybe that dog will be the thing that actually forces him to really think about someone else's well-being other than himself, maybe that could be what comes from it. I don't know, and I don't want to pretend to know. But ultimately I cannot make an impact by doing that. And I have to have faith in God that dog is going to be okay. It's just the way it is. You know what I mean? I really feel that is the right thing to do. I don't think that there's anything that would be gained at all from me doing that. And I think that one of the things that I thought of as, like in Reese and I were talking about it, and after I'd really talked to her about this stuff, and she said it, and I completely agreed. And she said that dog will be long gone by the time that he ever forgives you for doing that, if he's ever going to. Because in his mind, this 19-year-old mind, and 19-year-olds always think that they're more mature than they are. They always think they're smarter than they are. And it's just the way it is. It's not a criticism towards him. It's a criticism of being young and having a brain that's not fully developed, and the consequences of that. And and I think that it just will be that way for him. You know what I mean? Especially because whatever you believe, it's like that whole thing of like rose-colored glasses. Whatever you believe about someone is always going to taint any interaction you have with someone else. And so if you believe that a person is alive, like I have that with my own mother, you know what I mean? I don't trust her because we don't have a good relationship. And so anytime we would talk, everything she did, I always was just thinking to myself, oh, is this a manipulation? What is this leading to? Why is she saying this? Like, always thinking that there was something else behind the scenes that she just wasn't telling me. And, so it's just one of those things where I think that it's that cliche, just, pray and let go and let God. And that's what I'm going to do. I don't believe that anybody gets away with anything. I never have. Oh, there's a little standoff there. So he did back down to my Mortigan. See, my Mortigan is much more subtle in his communication. Now, I will say that whether or not that's effective or not, you see, it is effective, but I feel like Preacher's version is much better, because my Mortigan almost leaves room for a fight, because you see how he's not pushing back hard enough. And so Grim thinks he can try him. And whereas Preacher leaves no room. Preacher is more like a cashmere. I think that's, as much as I think this seems diplomatic, I think that Preacher's and cashmere's is much more effective. But that's just me. So, but anyway, so that's where I'm at with it. I care about the dog. I really do. I care about Bizu. But I have to have faith. Just like I care about my son, right? Like I care about my son, and I'm not trying to force him to come back here, So, I have to have faith that what will happen was meant to happen. And that's just kind of where it's at. That's what I believe is the best situation in this case. I know that there will definitely be people that will disagree with me, and that's fine. But for me personally, this is the way that I feel that I believe that it needs to be handled. So, big old Mortigan. You guys, I'm so excited. I went and saw the Asia litter today and the Mona litter, and I'm so excited. Those puppies are so beautiful. And I'm just really excited to be able to bring that stuff back. And so yeah. Look at Preacher over there staying to himself. Mad Mortigan! Look at that. Preacher didn't even break a sweat. He's like, whatever. Good boy, Preacher. So, oh, look at that. Look at that. So my Mortigan actually stood up to him then. I guess he had to make a point since Preacher came back. What's wrong, boy? Something getting your nose? What's the matter, baby boy? Yeah? You're a good boy, Preacher. You're a good boy. I think another reason why it's important never to retaliate and to let God handle. It even says in the Bible that vengeance is His, vengeance is God and God's, and He will take His vengeance. And so we don't need to seek revenge on our part. It's not to say that you should never do anything to stand up for yourself, like, go to court or anything like that for contractual stuff. But I think that you have to have a little bit of, guidance and people and God to kind of help you finagle exactly when you need to, as that old country song, when you need to hold them versus when you need to fold them. But I think a really important factor to it is that in certain situations, it's very important that a person not be able to blame you for their consequence. Sometimes it is important that they know it's you, and sometimes it's important that it not be you. In order for them to even learn the lesson, I think sometimes it just can't be you. And I think that that's how I feel in this situation. So it's not, and like I said, I don't think that he'll get away with it. I think that he'll absolutely, it happens, man. And I'll tell you what, like, I thank God for God's mercy because I mean, I was a young hoodlum myself. I had a very similar upbringing to Jeremy, my son. Oh, look at these boys. We're having some competition here, peeing on each other's pee. My Mortigan is really trying to prove a point right now. And now we got another one. So we're gonna have a peeing contest. Look at my Mortigan trying to give side eye. Preacher comes over to me to let me know, let me handle it. Look at that structure. And then, yeah. Anyway, so now I lost my train of thought. Normally I'm able to pick it back up. It can be hard sometimes with these dogs, and trying to be paying attention enough to make sure there's no incidents, but also trying to maintain my train of thought. It can be difficult. Look at that structure. Ain't a structure. Look at him. Look at him looking at my Mortigan, the side eye. The eyeball of it all. You don't have to like each other. You just have to get along. Alrighty. Well, on that note, I'm going to go inside and go chit chat with Savannah. Fall is coming, y'all. Normally I love fall, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little melancholy. Which is honestly like, it's like a moment, right? Because my son, the day before he left, because he knew he was leaving like days before he said anything. He probably, honestly, there's no telling how long he knew. But for sure he knew for at least Friday, and he left on, I think he left on Sunday, and I figured it out on Monday. He said we were like having this like discussion, and as I said before, and he wanted us to change the subject because it was making him mad, and I kind of brought up how that wasn't the fairest thing for all of us to do. And he said, well, you're going to regret, and he goes, you're going to regret that. I was like, no, I'm not. Like, why would I regret that? Like, why would I regret telling you that it's not fair for you to shut down a whole conversation because you don't everybody gets to say their piece, but because you don't like what somebody else has to say, everybody has to be quiet because it's making you mad. Like, that's not fair. I don't believe in that. And I don't want to promote that. And nobody was like mad. Nobody was yelling. Everyone was being respectful. It was really unnecessary. And he goes, you're going to regret that. And I was like, what? I was like, no, I'm not. And he goes, yeah, you will. He goes, tomorrow, you're going to regret that. And it's like, no, I still don't regret it. But, am I sad that my son, didn't get to stay here? Am I sad that it didn't work out, that he left, especially the way he did? Yeah, absolutely. And as much as it might make him feel great to know that he hurt me, ultimately it is what it is. And so I am going into this fall, I'm trying to like get back to, and I hope I don't sound, and I want to be clear on that with people. Like, I hope that I don't come off as callous and uncaring, but I do try to move. I've had a lot of tragedy in my life. And one of the things that I've learned to do is to move on from it pretty quickly. I give it its moment, and then I move on, and I don't think about it anymore. And I don't let it affect my life, because if I did, I'd never be able to do anything because of the overwhelming amount of trauma that I've experienced in my life. So, I give it its moment. I deal with it so that it's not an issue that I haven't dealt with, that kind of, stops me and brings me down, and then I just move on from it. And so I just want to be clear with people that as I do that, I'm not going to want to address it anymore. I'm not going to want to have these moments where people are like, hey, what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm just going to move on from it. And that's just going to be what it is. I'm about to have to get on to the madman if he don't chill out. Let's see what he's respectful. He put his tail down while he was smelling him. So hopefully I don't need to do anything about that. You're a good boy. Yeah, you're a good boy. He says, I'm a good man, aren't I? Yes, you are. You're a good boy. So anyway, I'm going to let y'all go. I hope you're having a good day, and I'll talk at you later. Bye.